Today is Sunday, April 24th, 2022. We are here in Cleveland, Ohio, and today we're going to be doing a little bike ride. Hopefully going through Brookside Reservation and along the Metroparks, past the zoo, and then maybe eventually near the Ohio-Erie Canal Trail down by the Tremont area. Right now it is 2:40 p.m. and it's a beautiful 82 degrees. So we're starting off at West Boulevard in Unity. Right now we are not on a dedicated bike trail. There are bike paths in the street, but I don't feel necessarily safe driving in the West Boulevard traffic. So we'll see how this goes for part of the way, and then eventually we'll get to a dedicated trail. Every so often I'll probably peek down at my little DJI pocket video thing to make sure it's still straight. This is the first time I've worn this chest mount without a jacket on, so I can already tell that it's a little looser on the fit, so I feel it bouncing around, but I have a tilt lock mode on the recording device that hopefully is keeping the image straight. One nice thing about this time of year is that the green is just starting to come in on a lot of the trees. I noticed that this past week. Now we're going alongside Walford Factory. And you always have to be careful of this spot. Actually, this spot right here, I always get up and walk it for a couple of spots because there's always glass on the ground. And yeah, my tires could probably handle it just fine. I actually see some more glass over here. But if it's just a little bit, figure I always try to get up and walk. Let me check how this angle is doing. I think it still looks pretty straight. Whoa, even more glass. See, I took it for granted like that the glass was done. There's blue glass on the ground there. All right. Fingers crossed that we're clear of the glass now. Now when we come up on this turn to the left up here, we're going to be going underneath a small bridge. Now I know during the summertime the shrubbery is often overgrown to the point where it covers the entire sidewalk, but since we're still early in the season, it appears to be clear right now. I'm referring to this area up here. Yeah, so during the summertime, this spot right here that I'm driving through, all this foliage on the left side would be extended all the way out to where I'm riding right now. So you usually have to just walk it in the grass. And I actually don't want to ride super fast down here right now because there's more garbage and glass on the ground. Anytime I take, I'll wait till I'm past the bridge. Anytime I get past that bridge and I start going uphill here, then it's pretty much smooth sailing. You're not going to see very much glass and the paths get smoother. Now this is Clinton we're on. There's a lot of factories on this street, as well as the 18 bus, formerly known as the 81 bus. Aero International World Headquarters is on the left. They do some bingo cards and other cards, I believe. On the right, there's this place called the Spotted Dog. It's like a bar and restaurant, but everything else is mostly factories on the street. Now, Clinton meets Ridge Road if I kept on going all the way to the end. But usually what I do is I cut through the cemetery that's up here, because that sort of diagonals you right into Brooklyn or Brookside Park Reservation. You got to be careful with how you're riding. Like about 20 seconds ago, I was riding and then one of those huge bumblebees just flew right in front of me. It's their season. Yeah, there's some glass right there on the ground. My mom was just telling me the other day that at the corner of Ridge and Clinton, all the way at the end, there used to be some gymnasium. I'm forgetting the name. She told me the specific name. I think it was last night, in fact. And I was looking up old pictures of it on the Cleveland Memory Project. That was torn down in the either 60s or 70s. Since that's sort of a blind spot on the right, I always walk across when I'm going over here to West Park Cemetery. And it's a Sunday, so there are probably a few more cars than there usually would be. I don't know how many people ride through cemeteries, but over the years, the ride through here has generally been very peaceful. I don't know, there's just something, I know it may sound weird, but there's a sense of peace. Sometimes you'll see families of deer running through. And then of course you'll always see the geese. This one's trying to cross the road. This will be the warmest day that I've used this DJI Mobile Pocket 2 to record something on, even though it's only like 82 degrees. It is in the sunlight, so I don't know if there's any temperature regulations associated with it. I know when I used to try to record with my cell phone, if it was like 95 degrees or higher, particularly if you were in direct sunlight, the camera feature would completely shut off for a while. That was supposed to be a protective measure for the phone. I know I had that issue once in Salt Lake City on a summer day. I had it once in Las Vegas during a layover when I was trying to show the new Las Vegas Raiders stadium. And then I'm pretty sure I had it at least once or two other times. Maybe in Cleveland once, and then I think in Ogden, Utah, I had it once as well. Before I turn up here, I'm going to take a peek to see how the angle looks on the camera. I think it still looks pretty good. Make sure it's actually still recording. Yes. And I do have my battery. Forget if I mentioned that. My battery pack is hooked up to it. A little bumpy here. So we are one week removed from Easter. Had a crazy variety of days. I think like 4 or 5 days ago, it was snowing again in Cleveland. Temperatures down in the 30s. But then Saturday and Sunday, meaning yesterday and today, low 80s in Cleveland. So now we're on Ridge Road, about to cross the bridge here. I don't know if it officially becomes Brooklyn after this bridge or further on down. Not too bad with the glass situation on the bridge. Only at the very end there that I see a little bit on the sidewalk. We're going to make a left turn at this newly cemented crosswalk section to go over to Brookside Reservation. And then at last, it hasn't been that long, like what, 13 minutes, we'll be on a true bike trail. We should get the walk sign first. Yep. I'm not sure if the cherry blossoms in Brookside Reservation are still in full bloom or if they've already fallen off. There are quite a few cars that I see already parked. Now initially I was thinking of just using a portion of this trail, because if you want to head up by the zoo, rather than actually going down into Brookside, where the baseball diamonds are, you would take a different path to go upward and out of the park. But I think since I'm here, I might as well, even though it's going to be more exertion going back uphill, I think I might as well go down and show a little bit of Brookside, especially since Sunday apparently will be a crowded day here. Get to see some liveliness. And those are the cherry blossoms across the street there. Let me pause here. So I think when I see the Metroparks show off the cherry blossoms, it must be that area over there. Let me go ahead and take a picture with my phone. I need to remember to take pictures along the way. It's always good to share those on social media when I'm promoting the eventual video. So that's probably why all these cars are parked over here, to look at the cherry blossoms. Although I'm assuming maybe they're starting to fade. Like these ones I assume were pink before, now they're already turning brown and becoming green. Okay, so if I wanted to make it easier on myself, I would just go straight and continue onto this path, and that would take me eventually by the zoo, and I am going to return there, but I will take this downward slope just so we can look at Brookside Park. And then once I come back uphill, you'll have to hear me huffing and puffing from the exertion of pedaling uphill. Hello. Yeah, see on the other side there how they're walking up the hill? It's not the funnest, because right now I'm just coasting downhill, so uphill is always a chore. Oh, you got someone on a sit-down bicycle up here. I've always wondered how one of those would feel. All right, so I'm not going to go all the way down there. I'm going to save that for a different day, because one of these days I want to do a full walkthrough video of Brookside. But that over there is, it used to be called Brookside number 4, at least on our John Marshall High School baseball schedule back in the day. That's where our home field was at John Marshall, so I played many a baseball games on that diamond. And then let me go over to the right side here. The field over there is called Towpath Field at Brookside Reservation. And that was always considered the nicer field, but well after I graduated it got even nicer, because I'm not sure if it was a donation from Major League Baseball or the Cleveland Indians or a combination, but they collaborated and ended up calling it the Jim Thome All-Star Complex. I think it was the year when the All-Star game came back to Cleveland a few years ago. They renovated the field, and it just always looks outstanding. The only downside to that is because they put so much work into it, me as just a regular person now cannot go on there and use the field. It is blocked off. These are softball diamonds, by the way, on the right side, like Rose and Elder fields. So if you ever played softball here, but yeah, so they have this blocked off now. So you cannot use it as a regular fan. You have to be part of probably an organized league. But yeah, look at that beautiful turf infield. Just the whole field is awesome. Yeah, so that would have been really cool to play on that. They have nice dugouts, shaded with good benches. But before they renovated the field, and it was just a plain dirt infield and normal grass, these benches were still the same. So I did play and watch on many high school baseball games here. It's always good memories. Oh, so one more thing, by the way. Look up there, because that's where we're going to be headed next. Up in that area where you see the trees and the hill up top. Eventually we're going to be all the way up there on the bicycle trail. Let me pause the video 1 second so I can grab a drink of water here. Okay, we are back now. So now we are going to go back the way we just came. Just wanted to do that little detour to show off the ball diamonds. It's always nice to do a little bit of nostalgia too. Now, one note, you could take a left here, and there are some stairs that you could take to go up to the area that I'm referring to. So if you're a walker, that would be a much shorter distance. There'd be no need to loop back around like I'm doing right here. But hello. But for the purposes of bike riding, yeah, granted I could carry it up the hill and it wouldn't be too bad, but I might as well take the trail. Some people are startled when they see a bicycle behind them. All right, we made it up that first hill. Not too bad. Measuring my pulse on my watch, you can see it's 122 beats. This one is actually the steeper hill. Usually I like to build up a head of steam, but it's harder when there's someone in front of me. Maybe I can go to the left here. There you go, got the heart rate up to 152. It's too bad that none of the green on these trees have really grown in yet. I'll have to come by a different time later this year to do a video on that. Because when you're engulfed in green, it looks very cool. Let's take a brief pause here. You actually can never see it this clearly when all the green is grown in, but now we're on the upper level of where we just were, looking down on Brookside Reservation. If you had taken that walking path that I was mentioning earlier, this is where it would.
Sorry about that.
You're good. This is where it would come out to, where the Brookside ball fields are down below. You can see the sign there, no bicycles. Yeah, this is always a nice little portion of the trail to get out of Brookside Reservation. If you made a right, that would connect you to one of these side streets in Old Brooklyn. If you make a left here though, it takes you alongside, imagine the outfield portion of Park. There's also a little playground over here and a couple of statues. I remember back in the day a couple of times me and the family rode bikes and actually grabbed Papa John's up on Fulton Road and then sat at the benches over there to eat them. I think that was 2 times we did that, again, many years ago. On the right would be Fulton. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the area, but imagine where Drug Mart and what used to be Unique Thrift Store. So I know usually I wouldn't be pausing, but I never get this view during the summertime where you get to see the whole ball diamond view from up above clearly like this. Usually you can only see through a speck of leaves. Now you could make a left there, but all that's going to do is kind of maybe like a 30-second ride to get closer inward, and it eventually loops right back out to this outside path that I'm on now. So you can get some more views there, but for now I'm just going to stay up here. Yeah, in fact, I think this is what I was just talking about, how it loops back to that trail. I think I hear a bike rider behind me. Yes, same guy who passed me earlier. This guy's the big tires. Must be, I'm assuming, an electric bike. Now, if you made a left turn here, you would go over the Fulton Parkway Bridge, Fulton Bridge, and it actually overlooks the Cleveland Zoo. But we're going to go alongside the other bike paths. With a nice picture of Brookside Reservation sign. So this portion will actually be somewhat, I say somewhat new territory, but I think I have ridden it once, like 15 years ago. But it'll feel new. The trail that is alongside the zoo. Let me make sure we're still recording here. And I see my thing's a little crooked. After I cross the street, I'm going to pause the video for a second because it looked like my battery wasn't charging it anymore. So I'll try to diagnose that. Yeah, so once I get over to the east side of the street, I will pause. Big bumblebee. Yeah, so I'm going to pull over here and take a look at my device for a second. Okay, I'm plugged back in. I unplugged it and plugged it, and it showed that it's charging now again, although I'm down to 70%, so hopefully I can still show enough of this in case the battery's not charging enough. But we are approaching the Cleveland Zoo. Right now you'll see the sign up here to the left that says the administrative offices at 4101 Fulton Parkway. It's a good weekend to cut the grass. The zoo looks pretty crowded just in this area over here. It would be the primates, cat, and aquatic section. Oh, again, so remember I said it's been about, I could be overestimating when I say 15 years. It could have been more like 10 to 12 years. But this is definitely a new Cleveland Metroparks zoo sign since I've last been here. I'm used to the brown colored sign. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a picture of that. Again, forgive the pictures, it's just a necessary portion of creating content, I guess. Making it more marketable, or giving a good thumbnail, for example, for someone to choose. This is a bike path that goes downward. So if you're not taking a car to enter the zoo, you could take this bike path. And I assume, because again, the last time I was here with the family was probably 12, 15 years ago, we took bicycles, and I know we parked them near the front entrance of the zoo, so I assume this bike path was probably there back then, because we never ride in the street. But perhaps it was just a regular sidewalk, maybe, instead of this bike path. But I will venture to guess that this is exactly how it was. So yeah, that's the zoo on the left. I don't know how much, let me try to take a peek. Can you actually see while I'm riding any of the zoo? Maybe not so much. Let me try to pan a little bit. Again, you're not going to see animals with me doing this, but you'll at least see that there's some people walking around. And then the front entrance, or the place where you could park your car, should be a little bit up ahead. So yes, there's the Cleveland Zoo entrance for the main parking lot. Also can get to the rainforest, if that's what they're still calling it. Now we're going past the zoo. Now this portion here will be uncharted territory for me, because I've never ridden past the zoo along this area. I tried to do enough research on Google Maps ahead of time, so hopefully I won't need to reference it, but if I get lost, don't mind it. I didn't realize there was another big parking lot back here. I just assumed it was only that front portion, but I guess it connects back here, and the bike trail now loops over to the other side here. Here's the dreaded part, going back uphill. Just getting up and walking, because I'm about to take another sip of water. Brought 2 bottles with me. So you can see the true bicycle path ended here. There's only a slight deviation off path. Anytime you have a bike path that intercuts main city streets. Oh, we got a EMS. I'm going to pause this video here because I'm not going to cross while there's a car in the middle of the sidewalk. Okay, I waited for the next light. It should be changing soon. Hopefully we don't get another car sticking out in the middle. Yep, looks better this time. Now this next place on the left here is a recent development by the Cleveland Metroparks. This used to be a landfill, but they completed it as of, I believe it was maybe mid-2021. I'm referring to Brighton Park. Let me get a picture of that. Yep. This used to be a landfill that was converted into a small Metroparks. There's one bike trail in it and 2 hiking trails. Now granted, these are not super long trails by any stretch of the imagination, but still very nice. You're creating more connections to other bike paths and making use of an old landfill to where now it's a nice little area you can pass through. So instead of me having to go up and ride through city sidewalks, it kind of cuts several blocks of that out. You can see there's also a little pathway over there to overlook something. In the future, they hope to extend the bike trail, because as you'll see, this trail is already coming to an end. I believe it drops you off at, what street is it? Is it West 21st? Oh, it looks like actually that EMS and fire truck that passed me earlier went on the side street over here, so you hate to see that. Believe me, I've had my share of scars from seeing those vehicles pull up in front of a house. So originally I was going to cut down the street here, which was West 21st, but since that activity is going on, I did look ahead of time. West 20th is essentially the same thing. So I will go down West 20th instead. Yeah, eventually Again, this probably won't be a priority, but in an ideal world, they would like to make a true dedicated bike path that goes from here for maybe a stretch of 3 or 4 streets to connect to the next portion of the trail. Yeah, this sidewalk's a little bumpy. I could ride in the street, but yeah, this is really bumpy here. I try to stay off the actual street as much as possible, especially when I'm filming something, because I have a little less focus on turning behind me to see if cars are coming. Although, you know what, since as I say that, I'm going to go ahead and cross over. At least this portion of the sidewalk looks a little more stable, and then the sidewalk runs out up ahead. Yeah, so don't mind me weaving in and out there. Like I said, originally I planned on West 21st Street. I had scouted the sidewalks on that street, but not West 20th. So then we go on this side street called Creston, and Creston will lead us into the next park. Now, the beginning of this next park doesn't look like an official trail. It just looks like a sidewalk inside of a park. But I think it may get a little bit more of a refined part of the trail as we ride further into it, but Google Maps wasn't able to show me that portion since it was further away from the street level. Bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. Yeah, I'm gonna check my camera again after I'm done riding through all these bumps here. I'll go up in this driveway here. It's nice and smooth. I did one smart thing. I wore a bunch of sunscreen before I started today's adventure. So how are we looking here? I think the angle is still okay. So let's begin our ride through this park. I forgot the name of the park. I think it began with the letter H. One interesting thing about Google Maps is usually they try to show you on a green line where bicycle trails are located, but they had not yet showed the Brighton Park area. I don't know if there's a way to submit that type of feature request to Google to implement that, but it would be nice if they got that included, because I had to look that up myself. So where is the trail located? I think it's down here. Harmony Park, I believe that's what this is called. On your left. Thank you. Okay, so this is, all right, this looks pretty nice. Yeah, Google Maps did indicate that this part was a bike trail. You just couldn't tell from Google Maps street view, and no one had pictures of it. I am applying my brakes though, because I never like to just haphazardly ride down a path, especially when it's curving left and right. There's a lot of potential blind spots. Yeah. So if they could get some type of smooth path just between Brighton Park and Harmony Park, I think that's the eventual goal that the Metroparks would like to see. Bridge that gap between there not being a trail. I wonder how many people know about this trail in between this park. I almost get the sense that it's like a little hidden gem amongst this neighborhood. Bumps. Oh, all right. So I saw something written on the ground that said bumps. Oh, I just felt one there. As you see a little creek here. Yeah, so there's several bumps here, so good on whoever wrote that little alert. I don't know if those are designed speed bumps or just an artifact of maybe some patches that have been done in the ground. Now you see the sign here for the Towpath Trail. Underneath the bridge here isn't the best on the ground. You got a little shards of glass everywhere. Okay, here. Yeah, I wasn't sure if this route would be completed on Jennings. Looks like they don't have a bike path yet. I thought it was going to be developed along here. But you shouldn't have to ride too far to get to the actual bike path. I'll go more in the curb lane here. I guess maybe this is part of a bike path. I don't know. I will pull over here. So here is a portion of the Towpath Trail. The Towpath Trail goes forever. I mean, you could take it, I think, all the way to Akron. See where those people are going. One of these days I'll have to explore it. I have never been on the Towpath Trail going any portion toward the, I guess you'd call that the south, going southward. Even though it's going east right now, where those people are headed, they're going to turn south in a second. But we are going to take it north toward Tremont. We'll wait for this car to turn. So we're crossing the intersection of Jennings and Harvard right now. You can see how wide the trail is. Very wide. I've been on small bits and pieces of the towpath, but only on the parts that are really close to downtown, to the point where I don't know if they still call that the towpath. They may call it the Centennial Trail. But shortly here, this should lead us to Steelyard Commons. Well, I guess temporarily the path here, it's using the city road, but it still has lines for the dedicated bike trail as we're passing over the railroad tracks. So that is Steelyard Commons up there. But the bike trail for the towpath actually cuts behind all the buildings. Now I am going to make a brief detour. I'm going to stop at Target for a second to check out their post-Easter holiday clearance. That's always been one of my things after holidays. I love going to Target and hoping that the candy is down to 70% off. Although more and more these days that is turning out to be a thing of the past. Back in the day they used to have candy very often clearanced down that much. I see a loose dog up ahead with that group. Hopefully the dog doesn't chase me on the bike, right? That's probably why they were running away, to get it away from the trail. The dog's trying to decide. He's like, I see human riding bike, or I see my group of people. Who do I go to? But anyway, yeah, Easter candy used to get a ton of clearance for cheap, but more and more the past few years, there's been a lot of times where there's just no candy left. But it's always worth exploring. So I will make a little pit stop. I could lock the bike here. There's a bike rack. But instead I'm going to utilize the rack that is right up against the Target store itself. Forgot they have an exchange store over here. They got some caution tape here, so I'll get up and walk. Looks like they redid some of the red balls by the Target store. There's still always a lot of traffic down here. You've got the Walmart, IHOP restaurant, there's a Home Depot, Applebee's, and further down more shops and places. Yuck, who the heck threw a bowl of whatever that is there? Yep, I'll go ahead and lock this bike and see what type of haul I find inside. So to my surprise, not only do they have Easter candy, including my M&Ms, but they also have it for 70% off the candy portion, even though the signs say 30 and 50. I went and scanned a bag of the M&Ms. Instead of being $3.57, it's down to $1.07. Sometimes you have to dig for stuff, because I used to love these M&M speckled eggs, and you wouldn't have seen them normally, but back here, there they are, M&M speckled eggs. Now, one bad thing is, I also love Hershey Kisses milk chocolate. They have the vanilla frosting. I got teased. I saw like, oh, there's a bag of milk chocolate, but someone ripped it open and it's all spilled inside. No milk chocolate M&Ms. They've got the milk chocolate eggs though. Those are probably similar. This is why you always scour everything. Let's see here. What's back there? Yes. This is always part of the process, just going up to the scanning machine and making sure they truly are on clearance. $1.07. Same thing with the Kisses. $1.07. Not sure what this big guy will be. That one's $3.29. I'm probably not going to get that. I was just curious what it was. I don't know if I'll get this thing. I was just actually thinking about getting this just to carry the stuff in. It's $1.50, 90% off. Little dog basket. Yeah, I'll see. I'm definitely getting speckled eggs, kisses, these M&Ms, and those candy coated ones. Okay, just finished shopping at Target. Now I am a little bit heavier on the weight here. Let's see if I can show this. Actually, because of the way I have the camera, I need to adjust the mode for a second. I've got this basket with some of the candy in there, and I now have my lock on the bike itself instead of in my backpack. And I got more candy in the backpack. So that may make it a little challenging to ride. But we'll still give it a go. I think the biggest thing you'll notice is that you'll probably hear my lock on the bike start clanking anytime I'm not on a smooth surface. Well, hopefully it's not too bad, and hopefully this silly looking dog basket with candy doesn't bump into my wheel too much as I'm riding. I'm sure it'll look funny for anyone who's looking at me, seeing a guy riding a bicycle with a basically an Easter basket on his bike. But hey, what can I say? I love my clearanced Easter candy. You gotta do what you gotta do, right? Normally I would have brought a bigger canvas bag and like been able to throw it over my shoulder, but I actually did not expect them to have the supply that they did at 70% off. So that was kind of a big surprise. But now let's resume the Towpath trail. I was probably in there for like 45 minutes. So now it is 4:38 p.m. Still about 82 degrees here in Cleveland. We are behind Steelyard Commons. I haven't actually decided how far I would be riding. The main part of my planning was doing what I've done so far and then making the pit stop to Target and then continuing to ride the Towpath trail. This part of the Towpath trail is still new territory for me. I've never been on it. I know eventually we're supposed to get near Clark. I don't know what the official name of it is, if it's Clark Park or something like that. But there's also supposed to be the circular mounds area. And eventually it winds up by the old Sokolowski's, which is no longer operational. So you can probably hear that lock whenever we're hitting bumps. So forgive that little background noise that you're hearing now. I never mind it, but usually I always do carry it on the bike itself. But I had it in my backpack prior to Target just because I was trying to keep down the noise in the video. All the times that I've taken a bus to Steelyard Commons, I had a feeling that there was a bike path behind it, but it's nice to actually see it for yourself and ride it. Some steel heritage center there for ArcelorMittal. It looks like there's some picture opportunities with these old bottle cars. One good thing is so far the Easter basket hasn't been an issue. If you saw what I was carrying or purchasing in Target, I was basically getting about 15 bags of candy. I put 5 bags in this little basket and 10 bags in my backpack. Got a little underground tunnel here. Tunnel seems to be in pretty good shape. I spoke too soon on the Easter bunny basket. Now it's swinging into my knee as I'm going uphill. Okay, so if I made a right there, I believe that would take me to the street level of where cars would come down to go to Steelyard Commons. I like how this area here has been chiseled out, so to speak, in between whatever street this is. Oh, Holmden Avenue. They have it on the 4 post. I was just taking a picture there. It's a narrow street. Camera seems to be angled downward a little bit. Thank you. I hate to startle people, but that bell comes in handy. So let's see here. I believe I want to go through Clark. Yeah, I'm going to keep going this way.
Oh, yeah, that's the place she's worried about. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think this is Clark Park yet. Maybe I should look at Google Maps to make sure this is where I want to go. Oh, I'll have to backtrack if I don't. I feel like I see people in the distance taking this path, so this is probably the right way. But there are, looks to be other paths that go up to the street level. These sounds like this one up here has a motorized. motorized bike. Historic Tremont Hooper Farm. So I know I'm not showing it on the camera because we're only angled straight here, but I looked to my left and there was a thing called Hooper Farm with some signage and a little mural way in the background. Originally, when I was thinking this bike ride up in my head about what to show off in the beautiful day, I was wondering to myself, maybe I can show this trail going all the way to downtown and then come back down Edgewater. But on the same note, I don't want to necessarily show everything in one video that Cleveland has to offer. I kind of want to do a separate video when I do the Edgewater Trail or maybe the other connecting one by Whiskey Island. I thought this one was appropriate to show because it's got several parts to it. We're riding near some factories. I think it says Air Ducts for the name of the factory. Oh no, Air Products. There's one of the first lime or electric bikes that I've seen along the trail. Looks like up ahead we'll be going downhill. I wonder if these are the mounds. Yeah, I think they are. Maybe I'll circle around there first, but I actually want to pull over, take a look on Google Maps where I'm at, just to be sure. You can also walk out onto this little extension patio. Looks like it's talking about the Industrial Valley. Let's see if I can show that. If I bend this downward. Industrial Valley Oh, it's giving some background information about the mounds. So let's turn back around now. I actually forgot to plug in my battery, so I took a second to do that. So I will circle, I'm assuming you can circle the mounds and then it just takes you right back, but let's go ahead and try that for a second. I'll circle going over to the left here, and I assume it will take me back just in a circle. These must be the mounds that I've read about in the past. Just another nice way to repurpose an old area into a nice, pleasant park. All right, so now we just made the little circle there, and we'll take the path downward here. All right, it's giving us the warning sign that we've got a steep decline. There is somewhat of like a, I don't know how to describe it, almost like a sewage smell over in this area. Seems to be some newer housing developments built over there on the left. It's interesting. I didn't know there was any new developments over here. A little area on the left where you could do a little barbecue. Whoa, we've got some four-wheelers coming. I'm going to pull over and let them have their way. Pretty cool. Yep, see, I'll definitely have to be cautious. I take no chances when I see motorized vehicles using these trails. And you also have to be careful because they could double back and come the same direction behind you. Hopefully the video is picking up downtown Cleveland coming into the foreground. Here's another one of those carved out sections at Jefferson Avenue. One of these days it'd be nice to be super adventurous and do the Towpath trail all the way from Cleveland to Akron, or Akron. I prefer Akron to Cleveland. Like, it'd be nice if I could get a ride from someone with my bike. Okay, let's see here. We've got a downward portion and then one that stays up. I think we want to stay up. I'm going to check that out on Google Maps here. All right, from the looks of things, I think you can take either one and they meet up with each other, at least according to Google Maps. But rather than going downhill and right back uphill, I'm going to stay up here. This is pretty cool, huh? Let me try to take this off tilt lock mode for a second so I can show. Yeah, we've got some like railroad artifacts here. The roundhouse, born of a one-track mind. And then what kind of view do we have over here? Just another industrial view. Yeah, if you want to tie into the roots of Cleveland, right? And the industry that's always been here. This bike path certainly showcases that. But it's like, I love how the path is so clean and just peaceful. I'm going to take a picture of this and then I'll continue on the path. All right, ready to continue. I don't know about this bridge component, but if I'm not mistaken, coming up here is a newer part of the path, because I think we're getting close to where Sokolowski's used to be. And when I went to Sokolowski's a few years ago for a little staff going away party for someone, there was a bunch of construction going on here. So I think this is the spot. To kind of bridge the connection of the Towpath Trail to downtown / Centennial Trail areas. Again, all the housing down here, I'm astounded. I had no clue. It's like, seems relatively new. I love the little color shape of the houses that are all in order here. It's a nice touch. Some license plates on that post there that we just passed by. You know what? Maybe someone showed off this part of the park a few weeks or months ago too, and I thought this was really cool because I had never seen this area. Let me take the tilt off and sort of Walk around here. Got a weapon of war, symbol of victory. Got to take more pictures. Some unique sitting areas here. I'm just walking this spot so I can briefly explore it. It says a nation in crises, civil war crises, and a community responding. Camp Cleveland. Let's get a picture from this perspective too. There's that massive bench up ahead. I did a video at Lakewood Park a couple weeks ago, and that was like the old style benches. This one must be relatively new. That's a nice feature. They also have the little barbecue grills here that you can use. Looks like someone's actually taking advantage of prepping a barbecue up here. Look at the nice views that you have downtown Cleveland. It's like the industry and downtown Cleveland mixed in one. Another one of those hidden little parks. Okay, so earlier when I was talking about Sokolowski's and the new path, I'm not saying that part we just passed wasn't new, but this was the area I was referring to, I think, with the newer construction. So let me resume our... When I say let me resume the mode, that's because when I ride the bike, I turn something called tilt locked mode on. And what that is supposed to do is any bumps that occur, or if my chest mount happens to angle downward when I don't realize it, because I'm not looking down at my chest the whole time I'm riding, it's supposed to still lock the video into the same position. The only negative of that is if I turn my body left or right, it really doesn't show that. But that's okay. I'd rather have it stay centered as opposed to me getting home later and figuring out that 75% of my footage was pointed at the ground. On the left there is the old University Inn Sokolowski. Still a shame that it closed. I mean, it'd be nice if someone could take it over. You're starting to see restaurant businesses return. This path here I have featured a bit on my channel before, on older videos, but that was before I had the chest mount, and I dangerously would film it with my cell phone in one hand and riding downhill was impossible to do with one cell phone in the hand. So let's see what this signage says. Towpath Trail North. So if you went to the left, that one's called the Centennial Trail. I guess staying right here maintains the Towpath Trail. I have been on the left again on some of my videos where I showed off the Cleveland script sign by the Foundry. But we're going to stay down to the right here and make our way toward downtown Cleveland. Jesus. I rode this trail, this portion of the trail, for the first time last year, I believe. And it was when I was exploring the new Red Line Greenway Trail that starts by West 65th and Lorraine. And when I saw this portion, I was like, wow, this is so cool. Because I love being at the lower level of the flats by the water and seeing downtown Cleveland up above in front of you with all the birds. Now I didn't see seagulls here in the past, but I had seen a ton of geese. I don't see so many geese right now. Tons and tons of seagulls. Uh-oh. I just thought what the implication of that means. If they're all dispersing and flying. Funny enough, I don't see much bird crap on the ground on this trail. Hopefully they're staying above the water. Some people sit by the water. Looks like they're eating down there. Where you could also, I've also in the past seen people fishing down there. Uh-oh, here's our geese. Oh my God, they have tiny, tiny babies. All right, I'm gonna go by them quickly because yep, that geese was hissing at me. I was trying not to be a threat. I don't know if it caught that on the camera, but there were like 10, it looked like 10 little yellow baby geese. All being protected by, I assume, their parents. When I've taken this trail in the past, I would make a right up here to go down Carter and over the bridge. But I saw on social media a few weeks ago, someone pointed out a new restaurant that I didn't realize had just come under development, or was finished now, called Brewdog. So let's take a quick spin by there. Yeah, so it's right here, Brewdog. They had amazing burgers listed on the advertisement. Let's see if we can get to the back of it. I know there's cars trying to come in. How can we get through here? Yeah, so you have a very spacious parking lot. I mean, look how busy it must be. You may not be able to tell from the front, but look, all the cars that are here. They've got the outdoor patio area. Hopefully this is coming through on the video. Yeah, very, very cool. One day I'll have to stop by and eat down here. I'm gonna have to turn back around because that's just like the lower level of parking. It doesn't level back up to the top. But it seems like a smart business model. I mean, Brewdog's the only food place down here, and look how busy it is. I wonder if it can turn into like the Flats East Bank if more and more people start developing down here, although I don't know how much real estate there is. I guess over there's open fields, and to my right there's an open field among the old railroad tracks. Let me pull over and kind of take a picture, find the right spot to take a good snap. There is a building there that says coming soon, but that's industrial supplies, more of a business, not a restaurant. So let's try to get back over to the Towpath trail. Back up on the sidewalk here and then a left. This part here is going to be bumpy. Even though this bridge part is meant for bikes on this end, it's obviously still a bridge, so they're not going to have concrete on it. Well, on the sidewalk portion they do. Now we're entering the Flats district. or alongside the little river on the left. And if you made a right up here on West Superior, you would go on to Superior and be right near Public Square. I'm going to turn left here in a second. So there's the flats, and if we continued going to the right, that would be the flats east bank. There is a bit of a trail down there, you can see. But let me take this off for a second. This kind of plays into what I said earlier about my ideas for multiple content. Down there is the flats east bank, and I think it'd be awesome to showcase that, but I want to split things up and dedicate like an entire video to that flats or flats east bank area one day. So I think this is a good spot to end this video. I hope you enjoyed this bike ride through downtown Cleveland. Again, you can see the Detroit Superior Bridge there. The waterfront line for RTA still is not running, but hopefully in the future it resumes. You get one shot of Terminal Tower in the back there. And then if you enjoyed this video, always would appreciate you hitting the like button. Feel free to give us a subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thanks again for tuning in, everyone.